If you are interested in getting a free download of my wedding photography email templates, there's a link in the description below. Today, though, we take a helicopter to a private island again, this time with the Canon R6 and the Nikon Z5, and also the Godox V1. Nice new hat.
Thanks, man. It's new.
If you win this hole, Tim, what are you going to spend your winnings on?
Oh boy. Probably a new hat.
Winner!
How many stops of dynamic range do you have?
You're flying the helicopter today?
I'm flying the helicopter.
Retired helicopter pilot.
Congratulations on your helicopter license. That's very exciting.
I don't have a helicopter.
Being a wedding photographer is really just about making the best images possible within this situation you find yourself in. Sometimes you have a lot of control over a scene, and sometimes you have absolutely none. Today, we woke up to a weather report that almost pushed us to our backup date. Then by noon, it started to look a little bit more like this, but it's currently calling for thunderstorms at 8 p.m. where we're going to be, which means, unfortunately, no sunset, and if the weather comes in a little bit earlier, we might not even be able to land on the island at all.
Well, today the weather report says, well, it's basically a Category 5 hurricane, but it's the perfect weather for a helicopter elopement. So feeling pretty positive about it. Plan B is potentially just flying a couple hours further south to somewhere more tropical and warm. Not a bad plan B. Not sure what that looks like for a helicopter.
Okay, I'm gonna get the rigatoni peppercorn Alfredo 4 cheese spinach dip matzo sticks and the chicken parm sliders. Did you want anything? Tim, look at your hair on camera though, eh? Do you ever look at it and say, I've made it? Sometimes.
Here we are, once again at Billy Bishop Airport. Tim, getting changed out of the trunk. We're about to fly in a helicopter to a private island. Jeff is going to officiate the ceremony. Do you have any suggestions for anyone looking to become a wedding photographer, Tim?
Buy a camera, I guess.
So this is from the Canon R6 as well as the 85mm f1.2, which is a very, very heavy, exceptionally heavy and also quite expensive prime lens for the Canon R series. I like the 85mm focal length. I think that I wish I would have went with the 51.2 for this just because of just simply the weight. 50 saves you a little bit of weight. And if you look down the front of the barrel of this lens, it really is just almost a telescope. So I would probably, looking back, have gone with the 50, but I like the 85 focal length better overall. This is the couple landing on the runway. Tim and I loading our, the bag that's in my left hand there is actually an overnight bag in case we get trapped on the island. I wanted to come prepared with some Cliff Bars and whatnot in case we had to, I guess, luxury camp beside the helicopter. And you might laugh that I thought of that and I brought that, but if you follow the channel, you know my backup strategies and also just how I do really come over prepared to weddings, because I don't believe that you need to make a mistake in order to learn from it. You can just never make the mistake. Today, I have a bit of a surprising kit. I have two Canon R6. I have an 85mm f1.2 on the one, and I have the Sigma 20 f1.4 through the adapter on the other. And then I have a Nikon Z5 with the 35mm s 1.8 lens for Z series. I think that weddings are a lot less gear intensive than we all believe. There's just so much to learn and so much to consume on the internet in regards to gear. And really, if I have an 85 and I have a 24 or an 85 and a 35 or whatever it might be, as long as I got those two rough focal lengths covered, I am very happy to cover a wedding. So don't stress out if you're trying to get a lens that covers absolutely everything from super wide angle all the way to 200 to 500 even. You can really do a lot, especially in the smaller wedding days that we're going to be seeing over the next couple of years. You can very much do a lot with an 85 at kind of the telephoto end, and you really don't need anything more than a 24, I would say, pretty much on any wedding day, especially now again with smaller weddings. So we were a little bit overweight still, so we had to drop our friend Jeff, the officiant, off here in this field, and then we'll just abandon him there for now. Bye, Jeff. Have a nice time in this weird field. You'll also notice I'm not taking a whole lot of photos of the couple, and that is simply because the way the wide angle distortion works, that nobody is going to look good, and also everyone's harnessed in, and it's just not the most flattering photo, and I know that I'm going to reshoot this with the door open once we're actually on the island, so I'm kind of waiting for that. And then I think there's something also to be said. I do this a lot when I do videos for weddings as well, that I want the reveal of the humans involved in the wedding to be a great photo to begin the gallery with. Otherwise, it's just going to start the gallery off in kind of a weird, like, oh, I don't really love that photo of myself. And then you're going to have to generate more momentum in order to get them back into the headspace of enjoying their images. So make sure the first image that you show of everyone is strong. That's another reason why I don't love doing salon style coverage and showing up at 6 in the morning with the girls if they're at the salon or whatever. It's not the best for photography. It's not the best moments necessarily. They're nice to have, but they're never going to end up in a wedding album. So always start the gallery off as strong as you kind of possibly can. And today, with it being a very compressed timeline, that's why I photographed a lot out the window, that I wanted to set the stage, or at least tell the backstory leading up to the actual event as best as I could within kind of the bounds that I have today. Again, going back to that first point, that wedding photography really is just doing the best you possibly can within every situation, and finding ways to make creative solutions for things that allow the couple to continue to experience their wedding day. What tips do you have for flying a drone, Tim?
Everyone wants to go fast all the time, but speed isn't your friend, I think, with droning. I think you want to go nice and slow. Slow, steady movements.
Hide the drone.
And hide the drone. You don't want.
It's not a drone.
Exactly.
No
you want
giveaways.
it to look like someone with a really tall, like, I don't know who'd have like a giant stick, like a massive stick with a GoPro on it. That's basically what you want to do.
Because we were a little bit too heavy, and with the wind, there was no headwind, it was kind of a tailwind pushing us on the island. He had to drop Jeff off to get down a little bit of weight so that he could land here. So we're gonna film that.
I am going to punch in here for a quick second. If you are interested in learning the business side behind how these elopements come together, as well as some insight on how to market them and how to book more of them yourself, join up over at the members website. There's a full course dedicated to just elopements, and also all of the templates that I use for marketing. That includes my Facebook ad templates, my Instagram ad templates, landing pages, all kinds of stuff as part of that course. And if you're a member, you also get access to Book More Weddings 2020, which I think is another very important course that if it is in the growing stages of your wedding photography business, or you want to take your business from, say, 10 to 30 weddings next year in 2022, this is the course that I would be paying a lot of attention to and implementing a lot of the ideas in there. Book More Weddings 2020 was essentially, at the beginning of the year before everything went weird, was supposed to be how to go from zero to a full-time business within 1 year. And that will stand true, but that will just stand true to next year. It's a deferred Book More Weddings 2020, but check that out. The membership site also comes with all my presets and $2,000 worth of other content that you have instant access to, as well as all future content that I'm creating there. Basically, the situation is when you have 6 people in a helicopter that's essentially designed, I guess, kind of for 6 people, but more so for maybe 4, maybe 5, plus some luggage. When you're running at max capacity and you also have fuel because it came in from a far distance away, it really is kind of a touchy spot. And when the wind doesn't 100% align with what you want to be doing, you kind of just run out of power to actually get onto the island. That's my understanding of it, at least. I had my private pilot's license, and I really understand planes, but not helicopters at all. They don't really make any sense, do they? You see that? I switched camera bodies, and it's the same camera. This is the first time in my life that I've ever had 2 of the same camera bodies. Usually with Nikon, I've been on a D5 with a D750 as a second camera body, or a D850 with a D780 as my second camera body. Today, I actually have the same camera body, and it's really, really nice. The reason that you might want the same camera bodies, so you're shooting the same thing with as both your primary and your secondary, is one, to keep the colors the same. In my case, I'm using a Canon lens and a Sigma lens, so even if the colors are kind of the same from the camera body, the lenses are going to interpret the colors in different ways. So for photography and for my specific case, I don't believe that it's really that important. Just quite honestly, the R6 has 2 card slots, and I need a camera with 2 card slots so that if one fails, and I actually had a card, it didn't fail, but it gave me a brief error, so I just pulled it out and I just continued with the other card and put a new one in. So that maybe speaks to the immediate importance, even on a brand new camera, that things still can go wrong card manufacturer wise. And if you ever have an issue, if you ever see, like if your card's writing slow, or if it pops up and it's like you should format, and then you turn your camera off and back on again and it's fine, just take that card out and just start a new card and put that in your card wallet and make sure that that is nice and safe. But don't shoot on a card that is giving you any sort of small little errors throughout a wedding day. It's so much easier just to switch out to a new card. That said, if you ever do lose a card and it says that it can't be read by your computer, please download either the Lexar or the SanDisk, or there's a lot of other recovery softwares, and you can recover from a card even if, for instance, you did a shoot and you formatted your card accidentally and you came home. As long as you're not writing more files over top of that card, so don't reuse that card if you have issues with it, that you can come home and you can run it through the software recovery, and it will actually find all of those files that don't look like they exist on your memory card. So hopefully this helped like one person out there, but if it helped you and you were that person, this is probably a significant thing. So yeah, just have some backup software, recovery software for just SD cards, because things do happen. And I'm happy to say that I've had 100% success rate as far as all of the cards over my entire lifetime that have had problems. I've always been able to recover them on my computer. So don't throw the card out. Don't write over it and format it again. Just bring it home. All right, I haven't talked anything about what we're doing today on the island. I hope that was helpful for a couple of people. On the island today, I have my 85 and my 20, and I'm basically I have my 20. I don't have straps on my cameras. I don't know why. It seems easier, and when I put them in my bags, it's actually I find that I drop my cameras way more when I have straps on them. So I don't know if that's a weird thing. Maybe comment below if you feel the same. When I don't have a strap, I feel like I'm very careful. When I do have a strap, I feel like I step on it accidentally, or it falls off the side of a table and a cat jumps on it, which has been a legitimate thing that happened and pulled the camera off. Anyways, I don't have straps on my cameras today, and I am just very careful overall with it, and I find that it works better for me. If that's not what works for you, then I might recommend, there's a lot of great straps. I would say the Peak Design Slide Light is my favorite, as far as, and also they have like little wrist straps too if you're more into that. And to speak about what we're doing right now, we're taking photographs of a ceremony, and it is the easiest ceremony that you can photograph. It is a nice cloudy, overcast light. Everybody's looking good, everybody's looking happy, and I have free reign to kind of walk wherever I want. I'm obviously still being very cautious. I don't want to just like stamp around. It's kind of loud ground where we're at. So if I'm stamping around and I'm making a lot of noise, I'm distracting from vows, or I'm distracting from what Jeff's saying. So I don't want that. I don't want myself to be the focus, even though there's only a couple of us on this island. I'm also being very respectful of Tim, who is shooting video today. I don't want to step in front of his tripod shots or do anything that is kind of unnecessary to get a shot that maybe I won't even use. If it's something that like I absolutely have to have, if the sun is perfectly breaking through the clouds and I want to dive down and get that shot in front of his tripoded camera, I'll figure out a way to kind of do it and be not ruin his shot, basically. I think this might even go kind of more levels deeper, as DJ Hansel, shout out DJ Hansel, would say, that if you can be working all the time with people that you like to hang out with, I think that ultimate success in photography is getting to do stuff that you like to do, like this wedding today, with the people that you like to hang out with. And that includes Tim, and that includes Jeff, and that includes a couple who I just met today. But I feel like when you're attracting your ideal couples, you get along very, very quickly, and you can instantly have a great time. You're just friends that literally have not met yet. And I think that a big part of that, I guess there's so many hours of content over on the member site for this, but the big piece of that, I think, is just one, to decide if yourself is your own target client. I feel like if your target couple is very similar to yourself, it should be very easy for you to create content online that yourself would want to watch, that would want to consume, that you would find helpful for yourself if you were on the opposite side and you were the one getting married. And once you're able to do that, and once you kind of hit that critical mass or critical momentum, I guess, in your business, when you're doing work that you enjoy with the people that you like for the people that you like, wedding photography really becomes the greatest career that you could ever have, or wedding video or wedding hybrid coverage or whatever it might be. It really does become the greatest thing ever, because you really truly are getting to make cool things with people that you like, and just getting to go on weird adventures. And there's stuff in the member site as well about how to kind of pivot that if weddings are awesome, but the big thing for me that they unlock is time freedom outside of that. So I'm able to travel, and I'm able to do, on a normal year at least, and I'm able to do the things that I want to do and find ways for those to make money. So there's actually in October, I'm going to be re-releasing the How to Travel the World for Nearly Free course. So that kind of goes in detail about how we started doing break-even trips and getting to go on safaris in Kenya and getting to go to Antarctica and all kinds of different places. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I don't think a lot of people understand how crazy amazing being a wedding photographer is, because it has a stigma from like the 90s and early 2000s, even before that, 70s, 60s, that it really wasn't that cool of a job. But I feel like it's just really kind of the absolute best right now. 85 again coming in super handy here. I really enjoy that lens. A 20 millimeter, maybe a little too wide. I think it definitely shows a sense of the scene. I would say that 24 is something that's maybe a little bit more reasonable, and I think that if I can guess what I'm going to be doing over the next maybe week or two, I might actually get the 24 to 70 2.8 for the RF series. And I know that a lot of you that have been following the channel, or if there's 25 plus, I think maybe 27 of these wedding days out there now. And if you've been a follower of these, you know that I have very much shied away, if not been actively against ever using a 24 to 70. But with the new 24 to 70s, specifically for the Z series, with testing, I'm going to find out if the R is, I would assume that it's there based on the reviews that I've read and images that I've looked at. But it's I think it's a new era for the 24 to 70. So I'm going to revisit my thoughts on why I did not use one and where I can find value in it on a wedding day now. So look forward to that coming out in the future. So maybe subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. And this far into the video, it's like 15 minutes. It's a long time. You've been here a minute. Hit subscribe, please. Did I come on too strong? Here's the first kiss. Shooting over Tim's shoulder. Tim is shooting two camera bodies, one video on his face and one holding at his chest, and also tripoded off to, I think, our right. One of the questions that I have usually for the officiant today, obviously we know Jeff and we know what he's going to do during the first kiss. The thing that I don't like in first kisses is if the officiant, if you can still see just like the eyes, like looking through the couple while you have the couple nicely, like there's no lack of depth of field that can erase an officiant standing 2 feet behind the couple while they do their first kiss. So one thing that I will suggest or recommend, or maybe just mention when I'm talking to an officiant, it's like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Taylor. I'm taking photos. Is there anything I need to know about the ceremony? Any surprises? And then the only question that I'll ask them is, what do they do during the first kiss? And then I also kind of put it nicely, like, oh, like if you wouldn't mind just kind of hopping out of the way for the first kiss, like that would be amazing for the photo. And I would say more often than not, there's some people that are just obviously stuck in their ways and they've done 1,000 ceremonies and they're not going to move. But I would say more often than not, I see that the officiants kind of move out of the way to at least give me, I can be on an 85, so I'll get that nice tighter frame, and I'll start vertical while I wait for them to fall out of the scene, and then I'll switch to horizontal images. But I would say that is an easy way to kind of nudge them to move out of the way for the first kiss, and hopefully that becomes part of what they do in the future moving forward now, because it's so easy to do and it makes the images so much better, and it's now a moment for the couple rather than a moment for the couple and then this weird human standing a few feet away from them while they kiss, which is, I don't know, it's a bit of a weird thing, the kissing in front of all your friends and family and whatnot to begin with. We won't get into it. Jeff brought them a throwaway bottle of not even champagne, sparkling. It's just apple juice that fermented for a little while longer, I think. And then this is actually a nice bottle, so they poured that, but it exploded more than our cheap bottle overall. And at this point, we have kind of everything that we need. I'd like to do a few more photos, but for the most part, I'm kind of gauging what they want to do. I don't want to rush anybody off the island. Like, we're here, the weather's holding out. Like, we might as well hang out and enjoy the day. So by no means is this an efficiency, like, land, ceremony, get back on the helicopter and get out. This is enjoy the time as best we possibly can. And that's a completely, I guess, different dynamic, or this in general is just a different dynamic than a usual wedding day. Usual wedding day, there's 150 people around. Today, it's just us all out on an island. So when people are hiring you, they really want to make sure that you're the right fit as far as a photographer goes. So again, make sure you're putting out what you want to attract out into the world as far as social media content. And I do suggest you start doing video content to just connect better with your ideal clients and your ideal couples, that it makes the transition process of them discovering your webpage out of a pool of 150 other wedding photographers in your local area to actually hiring you, or to putting you maybe in their top 1 or 2 or 3, knowing that you guys would get along if you were on an island together. So I think it is something that's really important to do. And I myself was by no means comfortable in front of a camera. Really, even to this day, I am not, but I know it's a necessary thing that I have to do. And it's interesting because it's a skill that I'm getting better at, I think, overall, being in front of the camera. Somehow Nikon gave us a show. I'm shooting Canon on here. Sorry, Nikon. But overall, it's like, it's a very interesting progression, and it's a skill that will definitely benefit, I think, your life. So if you are hesitant to get in front of the camera, find ways to do it in small doses and eventually get a little bit more comfortable at it. Maybe an interesting comparison here between, so this is, I'm going to shoot the same scene with an 85, not this scene, the next scene, with an 85 as well as with my 20, just to show you kind of the differences of the images that they create. Not one isn't necessarily better than the other. They're both very different, but just to give you a little perspective, here is the one from the 85, and this is the one from the 20. You can make your own decisions as far as feelings go, but the 20 definitely feels like you're more part of the scene, and that's why a lot of street photography and photojournalism is done with a lens that's a little bit wider than an 85 in most cases. Now, moving into the off-camera flash section of the day. Welcome back to my Nikon Z5 with the 35mm S 1.8 Z. I said that backwards, but it's the 35 for the Z series. And I have Tim standing off with my Godox V1, and I believe it's at 1/4 power. So it's at 1/4 power. It's very, very a powerful flash overall. And just by doing this on a cloudy day, you really do create some amazing lighting and separation. You could have brought in a softbox, you could bring in an octobox, you could do whatever you want. But in this case, it's just a bare flash. There's not even the little diffuser dome cup on there. And I am super happy with the results, because I do know that I'm going to be photoshopping Tim out of this photo, because he is, Tim, he is my human light stand for this demonstration. I'm putting him in a way, or basically Tim kind of selected where he stood, and I kind of was like, hey, stand there. And then I would frame myself slightly to put him in a place that I knew he'd be very easy to remove. If you are nervous about removing somebody like this from your photo, here's a quick demonstration. In Photoshop, you go in, content aware, fill, and in most cases, I would say 90% of the time, it is just good enough. Like, you just do it one time and that's it, and it's good. And whatever you select, it just disappears. There are certain cases, if you're trying to do something that's a little more tricky, it's going to take a little while longer. You might have to do it a little more manually, but try starting with content aware fill. And the way that I guess that I do it, at least on a Mac, is if you're on the background layer, you just select whatever you want to disappear, hold down shift, hit delete, and then content aware fill, and Tim disappears. Sorry, Tim. As I mentioned, my main flash is the Godox V1 in this case, and I'm using the X2T. I did not yet have the Canon one, which is why I actually use this on Nikon. Had I been able to use this on Canon, it would have been quite a lot wider, and I would have got more sky, which would have made for a much more dramatic image, which was kind of what I was going for in this. So I do wish that I would have had the Canon version of this, just for the wideness of the lens. And that's it. That's everything. Now we're on our way back home. and it is very much about to torrentially downpour, and we are watching the weather come in on the iPad, and it is making us a little bit nervous. We're getting there quick. Jeremy put the helicopter into super boost mode, which is not a real mode, but he got us home a lot quicker than usually happens. We got on the ground, and as soon as we were on the ground, it started to rain within about 3 or 4 minutes. And then we took these great umbrella shots that I am super happy with. I love that there is a cap to the end of the day, that if we just got off the helicopter and I'm like, hey, cool, we're done, there wouldn't be kind of this final outro to the wedding gallery. So I'm very happy that we were able to do this, and that the opportunity just kind of presented itself. And it's something I don't think I've ever taken an image like this. So I'm happy that I got to do it. So that is all for today. So that concludes our wedding day. The weather said it was going to rain at 8 o'clock. It is currently 8:03, and it is in fact raining, and there's some lightning behind us here, as you can see. So very happy we got in when we did, because that would have been not so great to be stuck on the island overnight. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you again another time. Don't forget to get your free email templates in the description below if you're interested. Download them, use them, modify them, send them out to people. Book more weddings. Make all your wildest dreams come true.